Have you ever dreamed of experiencing life in America? Walking the bustling streets of New York, tasting diverse cuisines, or chasing the American dream? Join me, Emma Carter, as I share my incredible journey through the heart of American life. From its vibrant cities to the vast landscapes, I'll take you on an adventure of culture, challenges, and unforgettable moments. Ready to discover what makes America so unique? Let's dive in. My name is Emma Carter, and I want to tell you the story of my journey through American life. This story is about my experiences, my excitement, my struggles, and the wonderful things I learned along the way. It all began when I moved from my small town in England to New York City. I had always dreamed of living in America, a country I had seen in movies and read about in books. To me, America was the land of opportunities, where people from all over the world came to follow their dreams. It was a place filled with culture, adventure, and new experiences. I imagined bright city lights, huge shopping malls, and people from different countries walking together on busy streets. I often thought about what it would feel like to be in such a place, surrounded by new sights and sounds. The day I left England was both exciting and scary. My family and friends came to the airport to say goodbye. My mother hugged me tightly, her eyes full of tears. My father patted my shoulder and told me to be strong. My little brother gave me a drawing he had made of me standing next to the Statue of Liberty. "This is you in America," he said cheerfully. I smiled, but inside I felt nervous. Would I fit in? Would I make friends? What if I got lost in the big city? So many questions filled my mind as I boarded the airplane. As the plane took off, I looked out the window and saw the familiar fields and houses of my hometown getting smaller and smaller. After many hours in the sky, I saw something incredible: the twinkling lights of New York City. My heart started beating fast with excitement. This was it. I was finally here. When I stepped off the plane, I immediately felt the difference. Everything was bigger, louder, and faster than I had imagined. The airport was huge, with people walking quickly in every direction. Some were talking on phones, others were pulling big suitcases, and announcements were echoing through the speakers. The first thing that struck me about New York City was its energy. It felt as if the whole city was alive and buzzing with excitement. I could hear the constant honking of yellow taxis as they rushed down the streets. Skyscrapers, taller than anything I had ever seen, stood proudly above me, their windows reflecting the bright lights of the city. People were everywhere. They moved quickly, some in a hurry to get to work, others laughing and chatting with friends. I heard so many different accents and languages. It was like the whole world had gathered in one place. I saw people of different skin colors, wearing different styles of clothing. Some women wore colorful dresses, while others wore business suits. Some men wore jeans and t-shirts, while others wore traditional clothing from their countries. I had seen all of this in movies before, but experiencing it in real life was something completely different. It felt magical, as if I had stepped into another world. My heart raced with excitement, and I knew at that moment that my life was about to change forever. Little did I know, my adventure in America was just beginning. One of the most fascinating things about America is its diversity. It is like a giant puzzle made up of different people, traditions, and cultures from all over the world. When I first arrived in New York City, I was amazed by the variety of people I saw. Some had dark hair and tan skin. Others had blonde hair and blue eyes, and some wore colorful scarves or hats that I had never seen before. It felt like every country in the world had sent a few people to live in this one big city. As I walked down the busy streets, I heard different languages all around me. Some people were speaking Spanish, others were chatting in Chinese, and some were talking in Arabic. I even heard someone speaking French. It was like walking through an international festival where every person had a different story to tell. The first time I truly experienced America's diversity was through food. I had always thought of American food as just burgers and fries, but I quickly learned that America has food from every part of the world. One afternoon, I decided to try New York-style pizza. When the waiter brought my slice, I was shocked. It was so big that it didn't even fit on my plate. The cheese stretched as I took my first bite, and the crust was crispy yet soft. It was delicious, but I soon learned that this was just the beginning of my food adventure. The next morning, I tried a bagel with cream cheese. It was round, soft, and chewy, and the cream cheese melted in my mouth. A few days later, I had my first taco from a small food truck run by a kind man from Mexico. The taco was warm and spicy, filled with fresh vegetables, meat, and salsa. Then I tried sushi, which is a famous Japanese dish made of rice, seaweed, and fish. At first, I was nervous because I had never eaten raw fish before, but once I took a bite, I was surprised by how fresh and tasty it was. Each time I ate something new, I felt like I was traveling to a different country without leaving America. Every meal had a story. The man at the taco truck told me about how his grandmother used to make tacos back in Mexico. The woman at the sushi restaurant explained how sushi is carefully prepared in Japan. Through food, I learned about different cultures, traditions, and even family stories. But America's diversity is not just about food. It is also about traditions, holidays, and celebrations. I quickly realized that America is not just one culture. It is a mix of many cultures, all living together and sharing their traditions. For example, in December, I saw beautiful Christmas decorations everywhere, twinkling lights, giant Christmas trees, and red and white candy canes. People sang Christmas songs and exchanged gifts. But at the same time, I met families who were celebrating Hanukkah, a Jewish festival where they light candles for 8 nights and eat delicious potato pancakes called latkes. In the spring, I met a friend who celebrated Eid, a special holiday for Muslims. She told me about how she fasts during Ramadan and how, on Eid, she wears new clothes, visits family, and enjoys a big feast. Then, in October, I saw bright lights and colorful decorations in a house. My Indian friend explained that they were celebrating Diwali, the festival of lights. People light lamps, burst fireworks, and share sweets to celebrate the victory of good over evil. I even saw a big parade in the streets for Chinese New Year. There were red lanterns, loud drums, and a giant dragon dancing through the crowd. People wore red clothes and gave each other red envelopes with money, which they believe brings good luck. It was amazing to see so many different traditions being celebrated in one country. No matter where people came from, they were able to keep their traditions alive while also being part of American life. As I spent more time in America, I realized that what made this country special was not just its tall buildings or fast lifestyle. It was the way people from different backgrounds lived together in harmony. They spoke different languages, ate different foods, and celebrated different holidays. Yet they were all part of one big American family. It felt like the whole world was here, living side by side. People respected each other's traditions and even participated in them. My American friend, who had never celebrated Diwali before, joined in the celebrations and lit a lamp. Another friend, who had never tried Middle Eastern food before, enjoyed a delicious falafel sandwich. America showed me that diversity is not just about differences. It is about learning, sharing, and celebrating together. It is a place where people from all over the world can come, bring their cultures, and still feel at home. And that, to me, is what makes America truly amazing. One thing that surprised me the most when I arrived in America was how fast-paced everything was. It felt like the whole country was always in a hurry. People walked quickly, talked quickly, and seemed to have no time to waste. I had never seen anything like it before. I remember my first morning in New York City. I woke up early, excited to explore the streets. As soon as I stepped outside, I was amazed. The roads were filled with yellow taxis honking loudly. People dressed in business suits rushed past me, holding their coffee cups and checking their phones at the same time. The sidewalks were packed with men and women walking so fast that I could barely keep up. I noticed that most people stopped at coffee shops, but they didn't sit down to enjoy their coffee. Instead, they ordered a cup, grabbed it quickly, and ran out the door. It was as if they had no time to waste. Some were talking on their phones, others were checking their emails, and a few were even reading newspapers while walking. In my hometown, mornings were peaceful. People would wake up slowly, sit with their families, and enjoy a long breakfast. The shops opened late, and nobody seemed to be in a hurry. But in America, everything moved at lightning speed. Another thing I noticed was how much people worked. In America, having a job seemed to be the most important thing. People worked long hours, often staying in their offices until late at night. Some people even had 2 or 3 jobs just to earn more money. It was completely different from what I was used to. Back home, most shops closed early, and people had time to relax in the evenings. But in America, shops were open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This meant that people could go shopping at midnight or even early in the morning. It felt strange to me at first, but I realized that Americans love the idea of convenience. They want everything available all the time. I also noticed that even teenagers had jobs. Many of them worked in restaurants, coffee shops, or supermarkets after school. In my country, teenagers focused only on school, but in America, young people were already thinking about their future careers. They wanted to be independent, earn their own money, and make their own decisions. After spending some time in America, I realized that independence is a big part of American culture. People don't like to rely on others. They want to be able to take care of themselves, make their own choices, and control their own lives. From a young age, American children are encouraged to make decisions. They choose what subjects they want to study, what sports they want to play, and even what clothes they want to wear. Parents give them freedom, but they also teach them responsibility. As soon as teenagers turn 16 years old, many of them start working. They don't just ask their parents for money, they earn it themselves. They save money for college, buy their own clothes, and even pay for their own cars. This was very different from my hometown, where parents usually took care of everything for their children until they were much older. At first, all of this was intimidating for me. I wasn't used to such a busy life, and I didn't know if I could handle it. But over time, I started to appreciate it. I learned to walk faster, to be more organized, and to think about my future in a new way. Seeing how hardworking and independent Americans were inspired me to become more responsible and take control of my own life. I started college in the U.S., and from the very first day, I knew it was going to be completely different from what I had imagined. Back in my home country, education was much more structured. Students followed a fixed set of subjects, and there wasn't much flexibility in choosing what to study. But in America, I was amazed to find that students had the freedom to mix and match subjects according to their interests. I met students who were studying both science and music, some who were combining business with history, and others who were even creating their own unique courses. It was exciting to see that learning here wasn't just about memorizing textbooks. It was about exploring different fields and finding new ways to connect ideas. One of the biggest differences I noticed was how interactive the classrooms were. In my country, most of the learning happened through lectures, where the teacher spoke and the students listened. But in the U.S., classrooms were filled with discussions, debates, and even hands-on projects. Professors encouraged students to ask questions and express their opinions, and they valued creativity and independent thinking. I still remember my first debate in class. We had to discuss whether technology was making life easier or more complicated. It was thrilling to hear different perspectives and to defend my own arguments in front of my classmates. Instead of just memorizing facts, I was learning how to think critically, analyze situations, and present my ideas with confidence. Another surprising part of American college life was the extracurricular activities. There were clubs for almost everything: art, drama, music, science, gaming, and even hiking. I joined an international students club where I met people from different countries who were also adjusting to life in America. Through these clubs, I learned new skills, made friends, and even got the chance to travel to different cities for events and competitions. Sports were also a huge part of American colleges. Football games were the most exciting events on campus. Before the big game, students dressed up in their college team's colors, painted their faces, and gathered in large stadiums to cheer. The energy in the crowd was electrifying. Everyone shouted, clapped, and sang songs to support their team. Even though I didn't know much about American football at first, I quickly became a fan. It wasn't just about the sport. It was about the school spirit and the excitement of being part of something bigger. Then there were the big social events that I had only seen in movies. Homecoming was a grand celebration where former students returned to visit their college. And there was a huge parade, music, and dancing. Prom was another exciting event where students dressed in elegant gowns and suits, danced, and enjoyed a magical night with friends. And then there were the fraternity and sorority parties, which were gatherings hosted by student organizations where people socialized, played games, and made lifelong friendships. College in America was more than just studying. It was an experience, a journey of personal growth and discovery. I learned that education wasn't just about books and exams. It was about developing confidence, learning from others, and preparing for life in the real world. It was an adventure that changed the way I saw learning forever. At first, making friends in America was not easy for me. When I arrived, I saw that people were friendly. They smiled at me, said hello, and even asked how I was doing. But something felt different. In my hometown, friendships were deep and long-lasting. I had grown up with the same friends since childhood. We spent hours together playing, talking, and sharing our secrets. In America, people seemed friendly, but also very busy. They had tight schedules, moving quickly from one task to another. They would greet me warmly, but then rush off to their classes, jobs, or other activities. It felt as if everyone had something important to do all the time. I wondered if I would ever make true friends in this new place. However, as I spent more time in America, I started to understand the way friendships work here. Americans love small talk. At first, I found it strange when strangers would say, "How's your day?" or "Nice weather today," at the grocery store or in an elevator. Back home, we usually had longer conversations with people we knew well. But in America, even people you just met could strike up a quick conversation. It was their way of being polite and welcoming. I noticed that even though friendships started casually, they could still become strong over time. I just had to be patient. Slowly, I started making real friends. My best friend, Sarah, was the first person to truly welcome me. She had a kind smile and always made sure I felt included. One day, she invited me to her house for Thanksgiving, a special American holiday. On Thanksgiving, families gather to eat a big meal together and share what they are grateful for. It was a heartwarming experience. I saw a beautifully roasted turkey on the table, along with mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and a sweet dessert called pumpkin pie. Before eating, everyone took turns saying what they were thankful for. I felt touched by the kindness and warmth of Sarah's family. Another friend, Jake, introduced me to another American tradition, the summer barbecue. One sunny afternoon, he invited me to his house for a backyard barbecue. When I arrived, I could smell the delicious scent of burgers and hot dogs grilling. People were laughing, playing games, and enjoying the warm weather. Some kids were running around with water balloons, while adults were relaxing and chatting. I quickly realized that barbecues were not just about food. They were a way for families and friends to spend time together, share stories, and have fun outdoors. I had never experienced anything like it before. Through these experiences, I began to feel more comfortable in my new home. Making friends in America had seemed hard at first, but now I understood that friendships here could be just as special and meaningful. I just had to give it time, be open to new experiences, and enjoy the little moments of kindness along the way. One of the best things about living in America is the amazing travel opportunities. America is a huge country, and every state feels like a different world. There are so many places to visit, and each one has something special to offer. I couldn't wait to explore all of it. One summer, my friends and I decided to take a big road trip to see the country. We packed up our bags, jumped into a car, and started our adventure. Our first stop was New York City, the city that never sleeps. When we arrived, we went straight to the Statue of Liberty, one of the most famous landmarks in the world. It was so tall and grand, and I felt so proud to see it up close. We also visited Times Square, a place full of bright lights, huge signs, and people from all over the world. There were so many things to look at, and I felt like I was in the middle of a giant movie set. After spending a few days in New York, we decided to drive south to Florida. Florida is a place known for its beautiful beaches, fun parks, and warm weather. One of the best parts of Florida was visiting Disney World. It was like stepping into a magical land full of famous characters like Mickey Mouse, Cinderella, and more. We went on amazing rides and ate lots of cotton candy. After the park, we went to the beach and swam in the warm ocean. The water was so clear, and I could see fish swimming around my feet. It was like paradise. Next, we headed west to Texas, a state full of wide-open spaces, friendly people, and a cowboy culture. In Texas, we visited a ranch where I got to ride a horse for the very first time. It was a little scary at first, but soon I felt like a real cowboy. I also tried some of the most delicious barbecue I've ever had. It was so smoky and tender, and I couldn't stop eating it. Texas was a place full of adventure and fun, and I loved every second of it. After Texas, we drove all the way to California, a state famous for its sunny weather and beautiful landscapes. One of the coolest places we visited in California was Hollywood in Los Angeles. I walked along the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where the stars of famous actors, musicians, and other celebrities are embedded in the sidewalk. It was so exciting to see all those famous names. We also went to San Francisco, where I saw the Golden Gate Bridge. It was so big, and the red color made it stand out against the blue sky. Then we went to the beach in Los Angeles. The sand was soft, and the ocean waves were so much fun to splash in. California was a perfect place to relax and enjoy the sunshine. As we traveled across America, I realized something important. American life is not just about the big cities and famous landmarks. There are so many other wonderful places to explore. There are small towns with cozy homes, mountains where you can hike and see beautiful views, deserts that are dry but full of unique plants, and forests full of tall trees and quiet paths. Each place has its own charm, its own culture, and something special to offer. This road trip taught me that there is so much to see in America, and every place has something different to show. It doesn't matter if you're in a busy city or a peaceful town. Every place is full of stories, people, and things to discover. Traveling around America was one of the best experiences of my life, and I can't wait to explore even more places in this amazing country. After spending a whole year in America, I realized something important about myself. I had changed in ways I never expected. When I first arrived, I was shy, unsure, and a little nervous about all the new things around me. But as the months passed, I noticed that I was becoming a different person, someone who was more independent and confident. I felt like I could do things on my own, make decisions, and take care of myself without always needing help. One of the biggest changes was in how I saw the world. I had always been a little scared of trying new things or stepping outside my comfort zone, but living in America helped me become more open to new experiences. I began to enjoy trying things I had never done before, like watching a baseball game, which was so different from any sport I had seen before. The crowd cheered, the players ran around the field, and it was so exciting. I had no idea that a simple game could be so full of energy and fun. I also started to love eating pancakes at a diner. It was something I had only heard about in movies, but the fluffy pancakes with syrup and butter became one of my favorite meals. There was something special about eating at a diner with friends, laughing, and talking about everything and nothing at the same time. It felt like a small but important part of American culture that I could enjoy. Another thing I never imagined was how much fun celebrating Halloween would be. Back home, we didn't celebrate Halloween like they do in America. In America, people dress up in funny, spooky, or creative costumes, and there are huge parties, trick-or-treating, and so many decorations everywhere. I joined in and wore a crazy costume, feeling proud to be part of something so fun. It was all so new and different, but I loved every minute of it. Living in America also taught me a lot about appreciating diversity. At first, I didn't fully understand what diversity meant, but soon I saw that it was about people from different backgrounds, cultures, and countries coming together. I met friends who spoke different languages, came from different parts of the world, and celebrated different holidays. It showed me that even though we may be different on the outside, we all share the same human experiences. And that made me realize how important it is to embrace challenges. Sometimes life in a new country can be hard. There are days when you miss your old home, or things don't go the way you planned. But the more I lived in America, the more I understood that challenges are a part of life. They help us grow and learn new things. I learned to not be afraid of challenges, but to face them head on. Whether it was trying a new food, learning a new skill, or meeting new people, I learned to approach every challenge with an open mind and a brave heart. One of the biggest lessons I learned in America was about freedom. In America, people are encouraged to speak their minds, follow their dreams, and make their own choices. I was amazed by how much freedom people had to be who they wanted to be. It wasn't always easy, and sometimes people faced tough times, but they always had the opportunity to improve and change their lives. I realized that freedom doesn't just mean doing whatever you want. It also means having the power to choose what's right for you and making the best out of every situation. But opportunity isn't something that just comes by itself. It takes hard work, dedication, and the courage to take risks. Living in America taught me that if you really want to reach your goals, you have to be willing to take risks, try new things, and keep going even when it's tough. Sometimes the road to success isn't straight. You might stumble, fall, and get up again, but the key is to never give up. The most successful people I met in America were the ones who kept going, no matter how hard things seemed. The last thing I learned is that resilience is an important part of American life. Resilience is the ability to bounce back when things go wrong. Life isn't always perfect, and sometimes bad things happen. But Americans taught me that you can always rise again. Whether it's facing a big challenge at work, school, or in your personal life, resilience means staying strong and never letting go of hope. In the end, my time in America showed me that life here is all about finding your own path. It's about choosing the life you want, believing in yourself, and facing challenges with a brave heart. I have learned that freedom is not just a right, it's a responsibility. The opportunities are endless, but you have to be the one to grab them. And most importantly, no matter how difficult life gets, resilience will help you keep moving forward. So now, when I look back at my year in America, I realize that it wasn't just about living in a new place. It was about learning to become a better version of myself, someone who can appreciate the world, embrace new experiences, and believe that I can do anything I set my mind to. And I know that wherever life takes me next, I will carry these lessons with me. My journey in America has been an adventure filled with excitement, learning, and personal growth. If you ever dream of experiencing American life, I encourage you to explore, make friends, and embrace new experiences. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more about life, language, and learning, don't forget to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. Also, subscribe to our channel, English Tone, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with more exciting stories. See you in the next video.